how to do it. It is true, though, that in non-meditation meditation, you are not electing an object like the breath, like sound, like thoughts, like sensations over open space. Yeah. So the practice is to really place your mind, your whole attention in open space. We're going to talk about a couple places like we did during retreat, and to rest there. Rest there. Well, as you're resting then in open space, what you will notice are objects, right? Because we understand there's no distinction between space and the objects within them. They need each other, in fact, are not separate, because you couldn't see the mountain if you didn't have open space around it, could you? It would not be distinguishable. It would just be blobs of stuff. It is space which informs objects. It is objects that I help see, recognize, hold space, and they are intra-connected. So we never see them as separate. If the mind goes to one or the other, we just notice where it went. Oh, sound. Calling of a bird. Oh, Carrie voice on the thing. But the work then,
I just turned on, there's a Zoom meditation thing this morning, so.
Nice to know.
you did. Now we all know that you did that. Let me put, that's okay, Carrie caught that. Whoever that is, welcome.
Thanks, Jan.
Good to have you too. Good to know. But we have to tell our partners what we're doing, don't we? Otherwise, they're like, let's go. No, I'm doing actually.
On Zoom though, it's really hard because if you have to physically, like you sign in, but you can't turn the audio off until you're actually in. So you do hear.
That's right. There's no way to do it
Yeah.
unless we mute everyone, and then that's a complication. This is just one of the beautiful challenges of objects in space. So sometimes we get an object we planned. Sometimes we get an object we didn't plan. We have relationships to those. We notice some we like, some we don't like. None of that is actually the insight work first. You will notice those things. The very first work is what we're going to be practicing now, which is non-meditation, meditation. Why is it called that? No object. Simply, no object. The other reason that the Tibetans use that, I don't think they came up with non-meditation, but it was a word like don't try. Yeah, probably in the Tibetan, like don't try anything meditation, which is a little familiar with the Zen tradition as well, is that their deepest understanding, and it is also mine, is that meditation by its nature is a natural state. That you have to construct the rest, the distraction, the not present, not embodied, right? That's not natural, that just happens over time based on our human functioning and the way this lizard brain works, right? But that really our natural state is one of natural presence. Lama Sri Dasa's natural radiance, that we're just naturally here. This is it until fear arises, right? And then we go, being here is scary. Well, actually, no, being here is all there is. Everything else is scary. And we get confused, right? We develop confusions around that. So non-meditation, meditation then is a real opportunity to practice being in open space, your natural state, my natural state, Cindy's natural, right? That's just the way it is. And then noticing the little movements. Oh, and then thinking about, am I getting this right? And then thinking, I didn't like that bird. Oh, but I like this one, right? There is no problem in non-meditation meditation. Remember, the objects are not understood in any way to be a distress. There's no struggle. There's no problem. There's no And then you would just notice liking and not liking of those, maybe, right? Okay, doesn't matter. But really, the work is always the same, which is to recognize, come back to, open back into the vast, open, infinite, unaltered state of open space that everything, including you, is happening. You, this moment, right? Okay, why don't we give it a try? Several people from the retreat have been working on this a little consistently with, I think, some lovely results. And so the work from the Tibetan side, I'm going to speak from their lineage and their tradition. Maybe unlike Zen or unlike Insight Vipassana, they're not so interested in anchoring up the body. Yeah, you know, whatever you're doing, that's fine. There's no sit like this and chin like this, and tongue over here, and eyes into the center of the nose. They're going like, yeah, that's a lot of work. And it might not even be that beneficial, really, in the long run, because it probably hurt you. And I've noticed that myself, right? Where the more pain I've been. But they do say this: find support in the posture, whatever it is. And I use that word a lot. And the second word is balance, that you're balanced enough so that you don't weight or distress some part of the body more than another. So those would be the factors. Everything else, optional. I'm falling back behind myself, so I'm going to straighten up a little. See if that helps. Now I'm nice and supported. Find that spot for yourself. In other traditions, they invite other mechanisms, like sit in a way that invites alertness. That's another instruction from a different tradition. The Tibetans would say this: remember, you're already radiant. You're already naturally here. You don't have to try that hard for alertness. It's just going to happen anyway. Whatever you're noticing, remember, they don't care as long as you keep remembering that occurring within vast open space. So let's see how we do. A couple places to place attention to begin. Some people choose a little area right here just below the nostril, not the nostril. Not the nostril. Here in front. You're breathing into this little, because it's a little workable space. Right. So some people, I like that. I can chew on that for a minute. Pema herself chooses a space that's probably like this to begin. And I'm using shoulders all the way down to hips, kind of the size, right? In front of ourselves, this space here, to begin to rest the eye, because it's eye resting, not distressing. And she looks at nothing. So there's no chair to look at, there's no plant to look at, there's no Brenda to look at. There's just open space. Resting, remember, appearing, disappearing, no problem. No struggle, no resistance, no judgment. Doesn't matter. I goes, mine goes, right? We're just in the knowing or noticing. Okay, so let's practice that together. I can't keep my eyes open for the whole practice. It is suggested that you do not close out life in these teachings, because life is a part of itself, each a part. And so they would choose to keep the eye open. I have too much habit for closing my eye. I wear contacts, that bugs me, but I try to start that way as well. So let's see how we do. Are we ready, everyone? Wonderful. Here we go. So finding that balance. And then taking a big in-breath, breathing in, holding it, but softening the body, just creating a sense of space in the body, and the big audible out breath. Let's do it again, breathing in. big out. Let the body settle naturally and rest there. You don't have to work the breath. It's going to breathe you. Wherever the hands are is fine. Just make sure they're comfortable. Let the shoulders relax. My eyes naturally close a little. I'm going to just try to work with that space out in front of me. Remember, you've got this one too, just beneath the nostrils if that feels too big. Now, for most of you, if you're not familiar with non-meditation meditation, you're thinking, this is a lot like nothing. Well, you're not totally wrong. This is meditation with intention, placing attention in open space. The distinguishing characteristic of non-meditation meditation from looking, hearing, sensing is that we're not purposefully opening those doors. However, they are open and present. And so we will be hearing, seeing. We're just not going to be looking or seeking. As we're doing this, we are also inviting and igniting the heart of bodhicitta. That's the awakened heart mind. We are gathering all the blessings, all the positives, any good news about this non-meditation practice today. And we're committing ourselves to doing this practice wholeheartedly, like it or not, favorite practice or not, no problem, that it might benefit all beings, as it will. We don't ring the bell in this practice so much because there is no real beginning, middle, or end. Non-meditation is understood to be continuous. You will notice the breath moving in and out of the body, particularly for those people who have a breath awareness practice. And you're going to see if, as the mind moves towards that breath, as mine does naturally, if I just can't create space and room in which the breath is being breathed, so I don't have to get rid of the breath, can I open the lens wider to include the open space? Remember, that is our focus. You may notice that's a little bit handier to place the attention briefly in an anchored spot. Now, remember, we're not going to keep that spot. Ultimately, we want to open into open, spacious awareness. But I'm just noticing there's a little spot on the chair there that's anchoring me a bit so that I can hold that open space. You won't need it permanently. natural, radiant awareness. If the eyes soften their gaze, if they close naturally, it's just fine. You don't have to fight with that. But see if you notice with eyes open or closed, the difference in the sense of open space, not better or worse. We're not going to climb into that, but noticing this different senses of open space with the eyes open. And then you might even investigate with open, spacious awareness with the eyes closed. Softening the body, keeping the body natural and relaxed. Seeing if you can open to each object arising, whether it's a sound or a thought or a sensation or a seeing. Seeing if you can open to each equally. That's the balanced quality of mind. I noticed, for example, when I closed my eyes, the sounds got very vibrant. When I open my eyes and other objects are available, the sounds become fairly more equal to sensations and thoughts. Just interesting and just noticing. If you're new to eye open practice and trying it, your eye door is going to win for now. The eye door is just going to take 80% of your attention, even when you're not looking around. And just know that's the habit of mind. Where is the open space, even in seeing? For some people, breathing into open space, the sense of the breath moving into open space, and the sense of that open space then being drawn in to heart, mind, and body can also invite a certain support for holding the open space more than the objects. If you are sensing the beginning, the middle, and the end of an object, it is being surrounded by open, still, and silent space. Open space is more of a felt sense than a seeing or than a hearing or than a sensing, though we can include them all. if you're noticing the breath and want to use it because it's so available for you, you can see if you can feel the sense of breathing in to the vast open space of the bodhicitta heart. Nothing but space, room, and radiance. Holding all thoughts, all emotions, all images, all sense experience. And then as you breathe out, see if you can dissolve this solid sense of the body. Just let it turn into salt in warm broth. And see if you can sense that dissolving into what I sometimes call the ocean of awareness. Or we could say the open space of awareness. That way you can use the support of the breath to make contact with the open space. See if you can find some joy, ease, as you rest in open space. This is the truth of your own Bodhi heart.
Mm.
If you notice the body being held in some kind of tension or habit, you can just simply release it at any time. Those are old mind and body habits that tense us or tighten us up during our practice. There is no object that can disrupt or perturb or shake the truth of vast open space. See if you don't notice that it is your own mind, and not your Buddha mind, not awareness mind, but rather thinking mind or fearing mind that grips and grabs an object. The very moment we grip or grab, the moment we reject, refuse, or contract, we have separated ourselves falsely in the delusion from the truth of ourselves and the truth of our whole lives. We are a part of the whole of this. And it cannot be diminished. And then as we recognize the truth and the true cause of our suffering, of our separation, of our disconnect, of our feeling judgmental or self-loathing, we can feel for ourselves. And this is the naturally arising compassion. We feel for ourselves and all those who contract, who diminish, who separate too. And that opens us up once again. Compassion, by its nature, boundless, open, and inclusive. And it is compassion itself that invites that radiance, that warmth, that connection, that boundlessness. And there's a prayer or a phrase or stanza offered at the end of non-meditation meditation. It's one you'll hear me recite now. If you've been in the Sangha for a while, you've certainly heard it before. It speaks to the truth of this vast, radiant, natural bodhicitta. So as long as time and space endures, and so long as there are beings who exist, may I so too remain, to wash away the sorrows of the world. May this heart of bodhicitta grow and flourish ever more and more. May it never diminish. So how about it? How about it? What do you know? What did you notice? What do you see? What do you not get at all? Like, I don't know what's going on. So I was going to be with the breath. How's it going? Carrie, can you read the any chat for me or help people get on? Because I'm on the phone. I can't see anything.
Got nothing going on in chat right now. I'll keep checking.
How was this for you today, since you were doing this with me for 3 days last week in retreat?
And I've done it pretty much every day since, because I feel it's really important to include everything. And I've been struggling a lot. I know we've had this joke about the flow, but I've been in my house for 13 years and it seems like the plumbing gods have descended upon every appliance in my house, including my water heater.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes, literally. Yeah. A lot
you
of
know,
flow. We're naming
lot
that
of
flow.
So dealing
Plumbing
with all that has been a
Plumbing
challenge.
demon, Kelly says. Plumbing demons.
Yeah. And so I think it's a real lesson. It's something that I have to really be mindful of, that somebody somewhere is telling me that this is really important, that I need to pay attention. And so I've been trying to do the non-meditation meditation, because how do you meditate on plumbing? Right? It's all there. And I
Yep,
think it's
just the
bigger,
flow.
it's a bigger issue in my life. Yeah, I think it's a bigger issue in my life that something is getting stopped up or flowing too freely.
Flow. Interrupting the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carrie and I came up with this little idea. Pretty fun. You can see then maybe if everyone else is checking in on this, how you have to stay open and notice that you're noticing flow, aren't you? You're noticing things and they're arising and their appearance, things and they're changing and they're fading and they're disappearing. You're not closing down to any part of it. There's the birthing and the deathing, the continuous flow of all things happening. This practice says we are going to open to it all. We're open to it all. Here's Cindy.
And I noticed for myself that because I was going back and forth between eyes closed and eyes open, which my eyes are usually closed unless we're specifically doing the practice that it's with my eyes open. I noticed at the beginning that I had more open space when my eyes were closed. But then as it went on, when my eyes were open, I felt somehow less distracted. And then when my eyes were closed, I found that my mind started to wander. So it seemed almost like it's quality of mind, whether my eyes were open or closed, it's quality of mind.
It's quality of mind, Cindy's saying, and she noticed different objects, whether the eyes were open or closed, or different sense of space, and then recognized that really open or closed, right? Awareness is available always, as well as is compassion. The reason we do open-eyed meditation in the Tibetan tradition is that we aren't blocking out anything. It's all included in the practice. The other is included. And we're not bringing just attention there. Remember, we're bringing compassion there. And if we keep our eyes closed, there's a little bit of me here, everything else is out there. And it really wants to disrupt and dissolve that sense, so that that quality that Cindy was just talking about of the most open-hearted, the most open receptive, right? Sense doors, body, heart is all available. It's all available. And yes, I noticed too, eyes closed, sound got very vibrant and loud. I lost everything else for a minute. I was only hearing sounds because I shut that eye door, which takes about 80% of the brain. By the way, that's just neuroscience. That's nothing about you. I'm less visual than many people. I'm primarily auditory, very unusual. And so the sounds got me. They went like, wow, I'm full of sounds. Carrie, I think you probably have some chats now.
I have some chats. Yeah, let me, Seth said, I think this would be much easier if I didn't have so many objects in the room. Steve
Yeah,
says,
we'd like to think that, wouldn't we? Yeah, if it were only the objects, we could get rid of all. Yeah.
Steve
mind
says,
object, yeah.
seems more realistic for daily life.
That's right.
I don't know if this is the same thing.
Leanne
Wait a
says
minute.
something. Hmm?
No, go ahead. And then Kelly wants to say something.
Okay, Leanne said she was rounding up teenagers last night. For a time I was on loved and needed this time. Great message. She says, breaking habitual thinking actions Eyes open and closed requires me to go in and out of awareness, expansiveness, ultimately becoming more open and more accessible.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, Leanne. And Kelly wants to say something. Kelly, speak up a little so we can.
Yeah,
I'll
it's hard to
hear
hear people.
I don't know if it's analogous, but many years ago, I was in Hawaii, and even before I had a meditation practice, and I had a lot of things going on, a lot of stress. And I remember just sitting on a rock, and there was a sidewalk in front of me. So people were walking back and forth, but I was sitting on this rock, just looking at the ocean. And to be honest, I sat there for hours, and I was in a kind of a trance, in the sense that none of the people walking back and forth, like none of them really got my attention, but they were there.
Yes.
And so
That's
I
right.
guess is that kind of what we're,
Yeah, I would say that's a lovely description. We are not eliminating the people, right? Or the sidewalk, or the trees, or the objects in Seth's home or room. We're not eliminating anything, but neither are they taking, neither, did you see what I did at the end? Neither are we grabbing them. Right? They're just there too, resting in open space, and that we have to contract for the objects to become larger than the open space, don't we? And the contraction is of our attention, and then the self that goes mine or not mine, or gotta have, or don't want, or right. That is the contracted nature of the thinking mind. Beautiful to notice. Why? Because awareness mind holds it too. See, no problem. Then you see, right? Close my eyes, sounds like this. Now, by the way, I didn't think that was the sound, right? I didn't confuse it. I didn't say, how did those sounds get so loud? I went, wow, look at the nature of this mind. When I just shut one door, sounds just get really big and vibrant. Oh, look what happens when I open the eye, I see all these objects. And for a moment, like Seth is saying, it just looks like objects everywhere. And I might lose the sense of the space in which it is all occurring, appearing, and disappearing. And so some people start with eyes closed because they can just get that. Remember, breathing in and out of open space. There's no one way, but really just to know that's where the practice is. And watching then in our daily lives, I'd say this is the second, maybe, well, let me put it at first, not second. Besides the formal practice, it's how to go into life, always recognizing object, creating open space. That's going to be our practice, no matter what it is, right? The thing you like, the thing you don't like, the thing you know, the thing you don't know, a thing to the left, a thing to the right. It's all artificial. There's no such thing. Actually, if we were to see this atom particle thing happening, it would look like one big old kaleidoscope of things. It wouldn't look like Brenda over there and Dennis over here and Diana's cup here at all, right? It's not the nature of it.
Well, Kelly's story reminds me when I was in the High Sierra, taking a hike way up high, and there was a stream that I was following going up, and all of a sudden it just came on to me. There was this really like rock right in the middle of the stream, and so I hopped over onto this rock, and all the water was going around,
Yes.
and I got on that rock. And I stayed on that rock for quite some time, just to kind of be with what needed to be,
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
And it was so refreshing. It was like a refuge to be in the middle of that stream.
That's
all the
right.
water.
That's right. Dennis was, I don't think everybody could hear Dennis. He was talking about an experience of sitting in the High Sierras on a rock in a stream and feeling that sense of all things really around, through, right, within. There's no right prepositions for this. It's under, over, left, right. It's the whole thing right through us. And that's probably closest. Those experiences are actually closer to the truth. of what is happening in this life. That really, we are an interacting, interbeing, interconnecting reality. It isn't just this here, that there. It's not actually true. So our practice this week will to get yourself on Dennis's rock and Kelly's bench or what, and see if you can't create that sense of space and flow. Space and flow, not space and objects. We're going to change it because you're giving me a great idea. The two of you over there in the flow and Carrie's flow. Flow, space and flow. Get the difference? Not solid, fixed, static, object. It's actually not true. Space and flow is actually way more accurate. And both of you, that came up for both of you. Do you get what I'm saying? Space and flow. Yeah.
I have experienced it,
Yes.
not in that way, but, well, also in this, I think nature tends to create that opportunity for sure, but, I'm a professional artist, and when I start painting, that's exactly where I'm at. There
Absolutely.
is no intention, there is no thought process, there is no anything. The critiquing and all that comes later, but in the beginning, it's space and flow. It's an open space. and
That's right.
flow.
That's right. Beautiful. Brenda just also added from her artistic expertise and experience this idea of, and Carrie as well. There's many beautiful artists in our community. Each of us really, I think I'm going to say, right,
Oh,
in
for
our
sure,
way.
for sure.
But some of us uniquely with paints and mediums and stuff. This sense of the, it does require, doesn't it, a kind of letting go into something else, right? And Brenda was saying no thinking happening then, no judge showing up, no what about this and what about that, that there's just an occurrence you could imagine, or just a birthing or a creative and or its connection to that. That's exactly right.
Well, it's as if there's a flow that comes into your body and
It's
leaves
really
your
true.
hand and whatever you're using.
That's
or at
right.
least that's how it occurs for me.
Yeah, how it occurs for me is in voice. And so I don't think about speaking. I don't think it. I never think it. I don't plan. I don't write scripts. I never do that. I used to when I was early in, like, you got to say that. I don't worry about that anymore. And I now know, out of lots of years of experience, I am picking up just the collective energies. Whatever's there is there. And I trust it completely. And when people go, gosh, you didn't say enough or you said too much, I go, yeah, don't know. Doesn't matter. Not really, right? It's not really it. Just like art. Artist says, that's it. I don't know. You liked it, you didn't like it. I'm not worried about it. It's just an expression. It's just taking its form. It's dancers. I noticed this. The least self-conscious, right? There's no thinking about it. There's just movement happening. Musicians, right? There's just playing happening. And you know it when you make contact with it, don't you? Because you're going, huh, yeah, there's that. We're all that. We are all that. I was talking to Carrie about something yesterday, and I said, oh my God, she was so prissy. And I really didn't, I honestly did not mean it as a judgment. I meant she was so careful and so contained and so direct, right, that I couldn't get a sense of her. And by the way, I'm sad for that. I'm sad for that. I'd wish she'd have slapped me. It had probably been closer to some kind of a truth than the right. And because we all know fear, don't we? We all know it. And it always looks something like, right, in a way that's painful. And also that we can't now connect with, right? Because it's not authentic, or it's not just what it is, or it's not that art or that music or that person. And there's a sadness actually for it.
Yeah. And it's kind of like just releasing that flow. And then for years, I've taught tennis for a long, long time. And as you're expressing with the painting, a lot of times, of all comes, people don't even think about it and they just let it happen. And I said, did you see that? And they go, I said, yeah, because you're just letting it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Boom. And
You're
there it
just
goes.
in relationship to whatever's happening rather than thinking about hit the ball, paint the sky,
Yeah.
right?
You didn't even think about it. Boom.
Yeah. Love the person. It's dangerous in its way. It doesn't mean intentions are wrong, right? We're not trying, I don't want to fault that, but there's a construction, or maybe a Joko used to say a false life. And I liked that word. She'd say, be careful. You might be living a false life, which means you're thinking a little too much about it, not being in it.
Well,
Now,
I've enjoyed sailing out on just out in the ocean. And it's just wonderful because you're just flowing with the wind and you just,
Yeah.
you just go. And
so
it
how
just-
do we do that every day?
Yeah.
How do you do it when you're sitting next to somebody who's prissy? And again, not a judgment. Really, I was trying to describe something. I didn't do it well for sure. What do you do? How do you do that? How do you open them? You create space. And you remember, right? You create the space and you remember there is no real separation here. That's artificial and it's false. It's not true. It's not true. Whoever that experienced other is, it's not true. It's not correct. And with space, we can much more easily sense, see, and know that. Let me read and see if there's any more here. Anything else from the group on this? Do you get the practice then? You will need to create two things then during the week to make this happen. One is the intention to do it. Otherwise, it can't happen. The second is you'll have to create the pause, won't you? The time. You're going to have to say, I'm going to do this at 8 o'clock, noon, or 4, or you're just going to have to go, hey, here's a transition. I'm getting in my car. I could take a couple of those meditation breaths, create space, experience flow. Right? Create space. This is our byline, experience flow. If you think there's an object, you've already missed it, haven't you? Because you've already gone it, me, them, self. Right? Now you've already done it. All those kinds of words then end up without intent, becoming solidifying words that we have to be careful. Don't we? They are X, I am Y, it is like this. You can feel the limits, can't you? Contraction in it, can't you? Yeah. So we get the idea. What is the byline? What is it? I know. That's why I'm going to ask us to remember it. Everybody here is going, wait a minute. I remember.
Space and flow.
Space and flow.
Gotta write that down.
Anybody remember?
Create space.
Create
experience
space.
flow.
Yes. Create
Experience
space.
flow.
Yeah. Say it again.
Create space, experience flow.
Yes. There you go.
Sounds
We've
so
got it.
easy. Just easy.
Yeah. We are not doing well here. I'm joking.
I'm still in a trance.
We're all still just going like this. Just non-meditation, meditation.
What was the line you said from Joko just a couple minutes ago?
False life. You're living a false or substitute life.
Yeah.
And I liked it because I could feel the truth of it in its contractedness, in its thinkingness, in its planningness. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this. When I get back there, I'm going to do that, which took me right out of whatever the flow was. because I trust that. I trust that. And I want you to trust it. And if you create space for it, then I trust everything you do. Go for the ball, don't go for the ball, right? Everything you paint, I trust that. I think the thinking can come later after create space, experience, flow, because then you can say, oh, this is right. I'm going to do this. Carrie said it. She said, I'm going to check into this now that I'm just understanding that I'm having this flow thing happening, I'm going to be wise and skillful with it. And so she's making plans, going to have her drains checked. She's going to, right? This is useful. This is in the service of good flow. Yeah. Right. We get the idea, right? Create space, experience flow, then think, speak, and act in accord. Whatever comes, however that works, I have every confidence in it. Yeah, I think we might be done. Does that feel like complete to everyone? I'm just going to make sure I don't have anything else. Nope. Why don't we sit together for just another moment then? Because we don't want to be limited by words or concepts. We're always better in the experience itself. Create space, experience, flow. Yes. And love. Love is what flows. Compassion is what flows. Clear seeing, insight, ease, and joy is what flows in the face of it all. And so we won't strike the bell again. We're just going to rest. That would be another key word, a kind of resting. You heard Kelly and Dennis and Brenda each talking about that kind of just letting it happen, which requires a kind of softening, easing. Natural, radiant bodhicitta, precious and sublime. May it arise where it has not yet come to be, and where it has arisen, may it grow and flourish ever more and more to the end of suffering and the realization of true abiding happiness and freedom. And may this practice today contribute and continue. So be it. Blessings to everyone. Good to see you all both here and on screen. Next week is the 15th, and so we'll be here. We'll be here in the garden again. Nespresso coffee. If you can get here between 7:20 and 7:30, Nespresso will be yours. I'll have the machine down here.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
keep
That's
anything I
there.
can do to get you in
Wow.
this spot. This is,
Bribery,
I'm-
it's all good.
Yeah, you
yes. Yeah,
you said my big desire and they're gonna make it
coffee.
happen.
Well, do you plan to be here? I have a little half and half for those of you who are those kind of people. And whatever we need. So I will look forward to sharing that with everyone, as well as this
Sweet.
non-meditation meditation. We're going to stay there. I have to say my favorite place for non-meditation meditation is outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
It just creates a little,
So great.
it's much harder for me, as Seth was saying. I think it's a lot harder when you're feeling enclosed in space with objects. So I'll look forward to sharing that with everyone. If you have a favorite Nespresso, let me know. I've got them all. So
I'm a purist.
I
I
can
just like the
Yeah.
strongest coffee ever.
straight. Well, with
Straight up.
Nespresso, you do not need anything in there.
Mm.
That is for sure. All right, everyone.
Thank
be
you.
Well, you're so
Thanks for letting
welcome.
me in late.
Absolutely.
No problem. That was Carrie. She's working on flow, so you're always gonna get in.
It's Dennis's birthday. Let's say
Oh, happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
Dennis. Yay.
Happy
birthday,
birthday to you.
Happy
There
birthday,
you go.
Dennis.
Thank you. Thank
Bye,
you
Dennis.
so much. Dennis is feeling the love.
Islands in the Stream. Listen to Olivia Newton-John today, Dennis.
Yes, Olivia Newton.
She had more
Love her.
going on than we thought.
Yes, she did, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Yes, she did. Be
Thanks,
well,
everybody.
everyone.
All right.
Take
Good
care.
day.
Bye-bye.
I